Good evening, and welcome to an evening of life and hope, a celebration of the resiliency of the human spirit. I'm Melinda Treadwell, and I'm honored to serve my alma mater as her president, and I'm thrilled to be here to welcome you this evening. We are featuring two centers for excellence at Keene State College this evening, our music department with its nationally accredited academic program, and our Cohen Center for Holocaust and Genocide Studies, a world-renowned institute for Holocaust and genocide education. This event was originally scheduled to take place live at Steinway Hall in New York City in late April. You won't be surprised to know that we had to postpone it indefinitely, but we are very fortunate to bring musical performance and messages to you this evening virtually. And my thanks to our Office of Ceremonies and Events and our advancement team for making this possible. It is truly my pleasure to introduce this evening's performers, Keene State College professors Christina Wright-Ivanova and Evangelia Leontis. Thank you so much for being with us this evening, and enjoy.
Good evening, and thank you so much to everyone for coming alongside Keene State for a musical celebration. I truly can't think of a better reason to be together than to celebrate life and hope today. Music's one of the strongest ways we can experience common empathy and a universal understanding. So tonight we'll journey through a wide range of emotions. You'll hear 6 works, 4 solo piano works, and 2 art songs from my colleague, Dr. Evan Leontis. And the emotional arch of this program takes us on a journey from great overcoming through to shining moments of hope, aesthetic beauty through nature, and finally to celebration and resilience. Tonight we'll travel musically from Israel to the USA, to Japan, France, and Germany. The first 3 works are rooted in finding strength through tragedy. The first piano piece is by Russian Jewish composer Joachim Stutschewsky. He went to school in Germany and Vienna, and he had to escape Vienna to move to Israel during World War II, where he spent the last 40 years of his life. It wasn't easy for him in Israel either, and he needed to struggle to make a place for himself. Stutschewsky was a nationalist, and he loved Israel, and he wrote music that captured the soul of his people. So tonight you'll hear one of his landscapes of Israel, featuring the region of Galilee, known for its stunning geography of mountains, the Sea of Galilee, lakes, and lush greenery. The next 2 songs by American composer Juliana Hall speak for themselves. They're based on texts from Anne Frank's diary, and they're from a song cycle called A World Turned Upside Down. Evan and I recorded these for an art song organization in Boston called Calliope's Call, and Evan will speak more about these important texts and songs after the concert. You can find a link also to the texts in the email that you were sent. So the 4th piece is by Japanese composer Toru Takemitsu. It's a lovely work called Rain Tree Sketch, written in 1992, that celebrates the so-called miraculous rain tree, which has tiny leaves that store up moisture and continue to let raindrops fall long after the rain has stopped. I just can't think of a more special image for storing up strength and holding on to hope in difficult times. I put the 5th work, Poissons or Goldfish by French composer Claude Debussy on this program because of another aspect of this concert, which is celebrating all the colors that a great piano can create. This work, Goldfish, was inspired by a Japanese lacquer box with a picture of a goldfish on it. And it's said that Debussy spent way too much of his money on beautiful small Japanese boxes and ceramics, and he really loved them. So the simplicity of a single goldfish swimming in the sunlight is so charming and brings such hope to us for a bright future. Finally, we'll finish the program tonight with a movement from one of Bach's organ sonatas, transcribed for piano by Czech pianist August Stradal. Whenever I play this particular movement, I feel like time stops, and I just feel this overwhelming sense of the beauty of life. I wanted to share that with you this evening. And I'm just so grateful that the music department and the Cohen Center can share all of this music with you today. So please enjoy.
Good evening. My name is Peter McBride. I'm the director of the Cohen Center, and it's my real privilege to respond to that. I want to just take a moment actually and reflect on the beauty of the journey that we've just been through together and what we've witnessed and what we've experienced. The Cohen Center exists to challenge people to remember and to learn from the Holocaust. The music of the Holocaust, both music created by survivors and music inspired by the tragedy of the Holocaust, is an incredibly important part of that legacy of what happened all those many years ago. And as we listen to that and experience it, it helps us remember what happened in a different way. I'm especially grateful to Christina and Evan for imbuing that performance with such emotion, with such feeling, and creating for us who had the privilege to witness it a sense of presence and pathos and immediacy in that performance. So for the Cohen Center, the relationship with the music department is incredibly important. It's important, as I've said, because historically, music and the music that has arisen from the Holocaust has been a really important part of that legacy. But it's also important because of what it evokes in memory. So when we remember things, we can remember them in lots of different ways. We can remember facts, we can remember images, we can remember faces, we can remember smells. I remember when I was growing up, when I went into my grandmother's house, there was a very particular smell because she cooked. And when I smell baking bread or soda bread, as they have in Ireland, I remember her, but I remember her in a particular way. So music helps evoke memory in a particular way. It connects us with emotions that we would otherwise not access. And so when we think of remembering the Holocaust and the challenge to remember it, to teach about it, to make sure that we don't repeat it, then evoking emotion is extremely important. That we are connected to the atrocities of the past, not just in a cold intellectual way, but also in a way that pulls at our heartstrings, that moves us, that challenges us to action. So our relationship in the Cohen Center with the music department is not just about us learning of the music from the Holocaust, but also being challenged to think about the emotional content, the emotional connection of our memories, and to think of the creativity and the synergy and the opportunity that exists to be challenged to remember in a whole multitude of ways, not just intellectually, but emotionally as well. So this is a very rich relationship that we've had with the music department over a significant number of years. The event this evening is in some way a culmination of that. It has brought us together in a new and creative way. And I'm really delighted about what that sets up for the future. The genesis of this evening came from one of my predecessors, Paul Vincent, who spent some time in New York City and had was involved with the Steinway there. And unfortunately, because of COVID, we weren't able to have this event there. But his vision for it, I think, has been fulfilled wonderfully this evening. So it has been a privilege to participate in this. And I hope the context that I've been able to put on it from the Cohen Center is one that helps add a layer of nuance to how we've experienced this evening. So one of our performances this evening was Evan, and I'm going to hand over to her for some comments about the performance. Evan.
Thank you, Peter. So happy to be here with you tonight, and I thought I'd just offer a few thoughts on our performance of A World Turned Upside Down, and just kind of give you a little insight into what I was thinking, both learning and preparing these pieces, and then in our several performances of them. So I grew up reading Diary of Anne Frank, as a lot of people do as a teenager. So I was very aware of Anne Frank as a historical figure. But coming to these songs as an adult and as a performer, and being charged with the task of portraying Anne as an actress, was a very emotional and intense undertaking, as you can imagine. And the thing that I love so much about art song, and why it is really one of the central aspects of my work as a singer, is art song has this incredible ability of taking words that are already powerful and meaningful, like Anne's words, and then adding this new dimension, new depth to those words that really makes the whole experience transcendent. And I thought I'd just point out a few of the sort of musical and compositional techniques that make this set so wonderful. Our composer Juliana Hall, she, in the song Hiding, the second song you heard, she creates this extremely uneasy feeling. There's a lot of dissonance, a lot of chromatic lines in both the piano and the voice, and also this very uneasy rhythmic setting of the words. And I think she's really encapsulating the unease that Anne felt as she was, packing her bags, getting ready to take off for who knows where. She didn't know where she was going. And we can just feel that unease in the music that Hall composed for that song. And in Chains, the first song that you heard, that setting is much more, she gives it this very steady, heavy quarter note pulse in the piano. And in fact, the tempo marking is with heaviness. And so she's creating this depiction of the heaviness of Anne's heart, as she has been in the attic for years at that point. And the heaviness of the situation is sinking in, and she's trying to figure out how to make sense of it. And the line that, both musically and the words that stuck out to me the most as I was performing this, she says, "Maybe our religion will teach the world and all the people in it about goodness. And that's the reason, the only reason, we have to suffer." And rehearsing that line and eventually performing it, I would almost be, overtaken by emotion every time, because the maturity that this young girl showed, trying to make sense and create meaning out of this incredibly difficult time that she was experiencing and her family was experiencing. And it's just so powerful that she was able to call on such strength and bravery and wisdom. It's just so inspiring. And it was truly an honor to be able to prepare these songs and perform them. And I really hope to be able to perform them again with Christina someday, post-COVID, in person with other people. It's really a powerful experience. So with that, I would like to hand things over to Marilyn Shriver. She's going to continue with the program.
Thank you, Evan. Good evening. At this time, we are happy to take your questions. If there's anything that you would like to know about the Cohen Center, about the music department, the pieces and remarks you heard this evening, or in fact, the All Steinway initiative that this evening is celebrating, we're happy to take your questions. The chat feature of your program is disabled, but the Q&A piece is open, and you're welcome to type in your questions right there, and we're happy to answer them. I'll start off with a quick question for Evan and Christina. And Christina, I'll ask you to answer this. And that is, how long have you and Evan been collaborating?
So it's been a wonderful journey of a couple of years now. I've known Evan for longer, but we never had an opportunity to work together until, I guess, about 2 years ago. And Evan is on the board for Calliope's Call, which is an art song organization. And for those of you who are more unfamiliar with art song, it's the collaboration of voice and piano. So it's really a celebration of a single poem with a set to music by a composer that a singer and pianist then come together and realize. So it's sort of 4 separate people and works of art coming together for a few minutes in song. And Evan and I share a deep love of art song. And so she asked me to perform on Calliope's Call a couple of times, and that's how we know each other. And it's just a joy that now Evan's also on faculty at Keene State, so we can share more performances together.
Wonderful. Thank you, Christina. There's a question in the Q&A. Can you give us an update on the Steinway program? And I'll actually field that one very briefly. We completed year 2 of the campaign. We have purchased 8 of the 20 pianos that are required to earn the designation of All Steinway School. We're very excited about that. I just learned today of the donation of another instrument, but it's a surprise, so I can't say more about that right now. But needless to say, we're over the moon with excitement and gratitude for people who have participated in the All Steinway initiative so far. The big challenge the next couple of years is to raise the money to replace that much beloved Steinway Model D that you saw and heard Christina play just now, along with the one in the main theater. So those are our big daddy challenges for the next couple of years, as well as some other instruments to help replace the fleet. But we've been very gratified by the outpouring of support, and we're very optimistic about the successful completion of the initiative. And there's a question for Christina. What is the most difficult piece you performed for this program?
I would say the most difficult technical piece is the Debussy Poissons d'Or. Debussy is not known for making pianistically your life easy, so technically that is a challenge. Musically or emotionally, the Bach is a big challenge. There are some pieces that sometimes just feel so much larger than you, kind of what Peter's saying, that you have a moment in time where you have a very strong memory or very strong moment that hits you. And I feel like that Bach movement, for some reason, intimidates me in a wonderful way every time I play it. And it's not technically so challenging, but it's musically big.
Very good, thank you. A question for Peter. In your past positions, have you done musical collaborations before, or is this a new thing for you?
Actually, I have. So previously I worked in the voluntary sector, and I worked in mental health services, and in the development of community-based mental health services. And linked actually with what I was saying before, the experience of music, or both for people to perform music together or to experience music together, is one of those things that transcends our abilities or disabilities. It is an equalizer because it allows us to experience something sublime together, and therefore our connection is an emotional connection. So I am a huge fan of musical collaboration. I think for the difficult issues in life that we have to deal with, it is a way of allowing us to connect without controversy. It allows us to connect with some of the difficult emotions of life in a way that is non-verbal and not necessarily intellectual, but at an emotional level, allowing ourselves to be moved. And when we allow ourselves to be moved, we allow ourselves to change. And so for me, music and the use of music, both in my previous career and excitingly in the future of the collaboration of the Cohen Center with the music department, I just think it's incredible. There's just huge potential in it for us to explore creatively how to engage in a really multi-dimensional way with some really difficult issues. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you. A quick question for Christina. I understand that the college recently received a very special donation from the estate of one of our Professor Emeriti, and that you are having quite the Kid at Christmas experience. You want to tell us just a little bit about that?
Oh, I would love to. This has been such a joy, and I'd like to really thank Celia and Eric Shannon at the Mason Library for helping so much with this. It's been such a great collaboration with Mason and the music department. George Loring was an artist in residence before my time at Keene State for about 20 years, and he was a pianist. He studied at Harvard in his undergrad and then went to New England Conservatory for his master's. And he's amassed a library that is really uncomparable. I've never seen a scope or size or depth or breadth of anything like it before. He has thousands of scores, not just the sheer value of these beautiful music books, but also showing such a Renaissance man, where he just everything from Bach to Stutschewsky and everything in between. It's an incredible resource, and hundreds of books as well. So they're right now in shelves in the back of the library, and the music faculty is going through one by one, and we'll have this collaboration where some of the collection will be in Mason and some will be in the music department for our students. And it's just, I'm so grateful. It's really, really exciting. So thank you also to Susan Loring, his sister, for helping with that.
Wonderful. It doesn't appear that we have any more questions. If anyone would like to say a closing thought, you are welcome, and then we will wish our viewers a very pleasant evening. I think I threw everybody for a curve by asking that. So I think we're just going to say goodnight to everyone. You're all, it's so wonderful of you to participate with us this evening. This is a Zoom events are always fraught with risk for so many reasons. And we're just so grateful to you for taking a chance on this event this evening. I hope you've enjoyed it, and have a great evening. Good night.